Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson is an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister serving the Center for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore community as our spiritual director. He has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man and visionary New Thought leader. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transformation, transmutation, and transfiguration, he lives his bliss as a teacher, minister, author, visual artist, ASL performing artist, mentor, father, grandfather, and more. By giving people applicable tools and practices that enable them to live a more fulfilled life. Recognizing, realizing, and materializing their full divine potential. His mission is to live, move, and be an active member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, and emancipate people and communities to awaken and empower themselves. Active stands for authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered. I give you Reverend Dr. Ray.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Namaste and blessings, everyone. So let's go ahead and jump on in our last Sunday in 2021. Recognizing that this whole idea of a new dawn, a new beginning, a new birth, like we're right now at the precipice of that. And if we're going to be honest, at any given moment that we choose to be, we are. Like we don't have to wait for special occasions to begin anew. We don't have to wait for special times of year to do something powerful in our lives. We can start at any day, at any moment, with any thought and any breath. Like yesterday's message said, Christmas isn't a season, it's a feeling. And that feeling of change and birth and rebirth can happen at any time we choose. So today, we continue and we close out the journey of becoming the light of a new dawn. This year fades into the new as the night subtly yet suddenly becomes the dawn. As visionary leaders, yes, that's you. Yes, that's you, Tracy. What dawn chorus sings for the next journey? What magic does the sunrise offer? How are we now called to fulfill the promise of the vision? Hearts fill with gratitude and enthusiasm as the new day breaks. And we have a moment to collect ourselves before the journey continues. Today in the United States, it is the first day of Kwanzaa, celebrating the principle of unity. We remember our divine unity with all beings and simply with all. So recognizing that your life is your journey of becoming the light of the new dawn, of a new dawn. Recognizing that in truth, there is no becoming this because it's what you already are. So what we're becoming is becoming more aware moment by moment that this is the truth of our being. Moment by moment, becoming more conscious of. Moment by moment, becoming more actively engaged in. Recognizing the truth of our being. Now, in the Centers for Spiritual Living, part of the global statement of the organization, the global vision of the organizations, says, we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. Sounds really good. Sounds really fancy. But the question comes, well, how do we become this one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life? Right? Like, it's great to say it. It's like, oh, our vision is we are one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. Tracy, have I told you how much I can't stand our neighbors? I just...
You haven't told me that, but I know what you mean.
Right, because you know it's an example. So it's one thing to say it,
yep,
but it's a different thing to embody it and practice it. So we have to ask, well, how do we become one global family? How do we respect and honor the interconnectedness of all life? Well, the great thing is, because we are the all, the infinite, the expansiveness, showing up in these individualized human forms, when we look at our own lives and ourselves, we see, as above, so below, as within, so without. We see in the microcosm, the macrocosm. So if we want to know how to respect and honor the interconnectedness of all life, this one global family, start by realizing you are, and all of nature is, a living demonstration of the interconnectedness. Every part of your body, one global, one unified global form of concretized consciousness, is demonstrating how it is interconnected. But check this out. When you recognize that you cannot breathe without the oxygen that is around you, oh, then I must be connected to the external environment too. I need sunlight and air, and I need food, and. So then we recognize that we are not just in this tiny little finite form interconnected, but we are grander and larger than we could even imagine. There's a documentary series on Disney Plus where Will Smith is the host. And each episode, he focuses on, or the show focuses, it's a National Geographic show. And they focus on a specific aspect of nature. And for example, the third episode, they focused on the scent, smell, and how animals and nature use smell to navigate, to swim back upstream to the original riverbank where they were born for salmon, etc. And ultimately, every episode thus far, 3 in, the key takeaway is everything is connected. Everything on this planet, all life is affected, even when you don't realize that you are. The scent of freshly cut grass affects not just your nose, but it triggers a certain part of your prefrontal cortex that triggers memories. What happens in one location in the world with scent as turtles crawl on this little island near Australia to lay eggs, sharks thousands of miles away smell and travel in order to feed around this island. All of life is connected simply because all of God is connected. So our invitation is start recognizing that interconnectedness of our own being, and then expand it outwards, and then expand it outwards. In the pre-service meditation, Sue gave an example from the film Cocoon. And there's a scene where, and I'm not going to give the movie away, but there's a scene where the sharing of energy brings the human into this state of awe. Like when he feels the light as shared with him, the light that all have, it awakens a completely different awareness in his being where he not just feels it, but he knows. He knows. So we're invited, connect with the interconnectivity of all life by connecting deeply with ourselves and those around us. Don't take anything for granted. Celebrate and feel consciously. And see this idea, because once again, that quote, one global family recognizes the honors and interconnectedness. Yeah. That's in the head. It's easy to do mental gymnastics around a vision. It's easy to do mental gymnastics around the idea of social justice, equitable justice, restorative justice. It's easy to do mental gymnastics around that. But if we're going to truly change the world, change our lives, we have to do more than just change our thinking. There's a Sue quote, Sue, not Sue as in Sue Monahan or Sue Italiano, Sue as in the indigenous Americans, Sue. Wow. That says the longest journey you will ever make in your life is from your head to your heart, to move to that space of feeling. And from that space of feeling, we act. We're invited to move into that next space, the new dawn, that next space of action based upon what we know about ourselves, what we're willing to know about ourselves. Ernest Holmes says, every person is surrounded by a thought atmosphere. Take that in for a second. A thought atmosphere. Now, I'm sorry. Y'all know I mess with Tracy often. No, really? So there are times where Tracy will eat a certain something like Brussels sprouts. And there's an atmosphere around talking about scent. There's an atmosphere sometimes around Tracy. Breathe that in. Breathe it. I want to breathe that in. And I want to breathe that in, right? But you follow me. There's an atmosphere, whether it's cologne, there's a scent atmosphere. Well, there's an energetic atmosphere around each of us too, whether you call it the aura, whether you call it chi, it doesn't matter what you call it. Every single person, everything, because it's not just people, trees have an atmosphere, an energetic surrounding, rocks, an energetic surrounding, because it's all still spirit. Right? Like don't downplay and think that rocks are just rocks. Rocks are still spirit in form. Rocks, though seemingly inactive, if you look close enough, you see much activity at the molecular and quantum level. All is alive. Every person is surrounded by a thought atmosphere. This mental atmosphere is the direct result of thought, which in its turn becomes the direct reason for the cause of that which comes into our lives. In other words, how we think, our mental equivalent, how we think externally or internally, the words we speak, externally, internally, the feelings we feel externally, internally, and the actions, all of it affects what comes into our lives. Now, do not bypass and make this sound like, well, if something bad happens, that there is also the thought atmosphere of the country that also does this. There's also the thought atmosphere of the globe that does this, right? So we are also existing within a thought atmosphere, within a thought atmosphere, within a thought atmosphere, which is why as we change any atmosphere, it ripples and changes all. So being mindful that if there's a certain experience we want, then we must do the internal spiritual work, changing our thinking, changing our speaking, changing our feeling, changing our actions in order to sow a different vibrational resonance that then changes life. But we must be aware, because once again, mental gymnastics, it's easy. It's easy to say, yes, I meditate. Yes, I do this. Yes, I do that. And yet we ignore how readily we may be distracted. Distracted in meditation, distracted when I'm driving, distracted when I'm in squirrel. Oh, sorry, I was distracted for a moment. Like, how often are we distracted? Because that distraction is moving us away from what we say we want, what we say we want to experience, what we say we want to feel. So if we want to experience a different life, changing the quality of our living, then we must be mindful of the distractions and do the work to shift them, eradicate them, control them, so that we are far more conscious and far more aware. Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith says, don't look for your dreams to become true. Look to become true to your dreams. Be it. Be it. And then notice how the external changes. See, we do a lot of seeking, searching, wanting from the external rather than becoming it. The remix for this: don't look for your peace of mind. Don't look for unity or alignment to become externally true. Like, I'll let somebody else do it. Or when I take that class, then it'll happen. When I read that book, then it'll happen. Become them. Become peace of mind. Become unity. Embody them, and they truly then are your lived experience. Become it. Do the work. Like, whatever that is for you, because it's some things vary per person, right? Like, different people have different tastes. Some people like sugar. Some people like salt. Some people like the crunch of potato chips and stuff, or ice, if that's your thing. Whatever works for you. Recognizing that it's the same thing with your spiritual practice. Not everybody can do transcendental meditation. Not everybody's interested in it. For some, their meditation is a walking meditation, like Thich Nhat Hanh used to do, right? Like that idea of walking meditation. For some, the meditation is prayer. For some, the meditation is music. Recognize that you have a practice that you are invited to get into that helps you embody the truth of your being. There's a blueprint, there's a plan, there's a prescription that all of us are invited to move into in order to step into the realization that the light of your being, the love of your being, that is spirit, is present right now. Not later, but now. Not then, but now. And what is now has always been, is now, and will always be. But in order to feel unified with it, in order to feel the harmony of this, in order to live from this place of, I know that that which is the infinite I am, the Atman, the Brahma, the Krishna, Allah, Buddha, Yeshua, whatever that is right now, we have to remove, right? The opposite of unity is discord, division, fighting, antagonism. So you want to experience unity, you say. You want to experience harmony, you say. Well, then do more of what you want. Be more of what you want, and do less. Be less of what you don't want. So be more oneness, love, compassion, togetherness, not just in your words, but in your thinking, in your speaking, in your feeling, and in your actions, than speaking about, being about, living about division and separation. Recognizing, yes, that Tracy and I are separate beings, but because there is only one spirit, I know that this appearance that serves a purpose of us being separate beings, we are also unified as one power and one presence. And we are connected energetically. We are connected biologically because we share life. We share air. We share energy. We're humans. We are carbon-based units of energy. Biologically, the star that we share. We don't share certain desserts because y'all didn't hear that, right? But you get my point. So rather than talking about me, you, us versus them, be more for what you desire to experience and see in the world. Reverend Cynthia James says, every person on this planet has the ability to express and radiate these qualities, the qualities of God. These people we place on pedestals are simply the people who, ideally, are the people who remember that they have an extraordinary essence. Ideally, the people we put on pedestals, because there's some folks we put on pedestals that we should be putting under them. Oh, Tracy said that we should be putting under them. Maybe not that, but that we should not idolize them because they don't know, right? And honestly, put yourself on a pedestal, right? Put yourself on a pedestal and recognize the infinite power and presence of you. Don't put somebody else and be like, that on the pedestal, yay, them. But put yourself on a pedestal and be like, yay, me. I recognize that I am love made human form. I am the infinite power and presence of all that is, incarnating in, through, and as me. And because that is the truth, I can change the very fabric of creation itself. All of these God qualities, all of these personal qualities, such as being good, brilliant, gentle, kind, all people have the ability to express. All people have the ability to embody and live from any of these infinite number of qualities and traits and characteristics. So when we pass people on the street, even though they may not see kindness within themselves, and they may not see compassion in the world, you can pass them and bless them. Pass them and namaste. Pass them and leave your thought atmosphere, your atmosphere of consciousness. Leave the scent of God on them so that their own aroma of their divinity is awakened and they become conscious of it. Mrs. Castaneda's fourth grade teacher says, unity means that we acknowledge our differences, and that difference, that diversity is a good thing. It also means to show respect and kindness to everybody. When we get along and help others, great things happen. See, the idea is someone may do something heinous and end up going to jail. That does not mean you treat them in an inhumane manner. It means you treat them with respect and kindness. You help them rehabilitate and transform and heal. And they may never leave prison based upon their crime, but they are seen as a human being even while incarcerated. And if they are truly rehabilitated, then set them free, right? So we recognize it doesn't matter who the person is, what they may have done. All incarnations of God are deserving. And it is our invitation to bring that forth. Even if someone, like I tell people many, many times, as a martial artist, there are ways that if someone were to, step, like I can respond in anger and hatred or I can respond with, in the most loving and compassionate way, I am going to let you know that I will not allow you to harm me or those I love to the best of my ability, and I will gently introduce you to the asphalt with love and compassion, because I could change that up. In every moment, we have the opportunity of how we meet and greet all aspects of life. How do we meet and greet our own being? Do we approach our own selves with animosity and division, or with compassion and oneness? Reverend Sunshine Day, in a song called Under One Sky, sings, knowing there's a place for us where we can all be free. Every day is a gift. We get to better someone's life. We can all do our part to live in harmony. Every single one of us has a part to play. Every single one of us is part of this unity called God. And there are many symbols that are used around the world to express the idea of unity and oneness. Today, the first day of Kwanzaa, umoja, unity. Today is a day to remember and anchor and ground and recognize all is divine, all is God, and unity is divinity. You are divine. And because you are, and you are that which is, you are connected infinitely, eternally to all that is. You are the unique, divine, perfect, unrepeatable way that life, God, expresses itself. Act like it. As you live from this consciousness, that atmosphere, you manifest joyous possibilities and unified conditions into experience. It is through right thought, effective thought, and belief that you greatly influence your environment. Know this. Release the weapons of mass distraction and live from your divinity now. It is a good use of our divine humanity to learn from the past experiences, be present, and plan for and create our future. You see, every single one of us has a vibration, a universal song, as Nikola Tesla said, and others have said, like, I can't think of the Greek philosopher's name, but that planets make a sound. There is a vibration that is sounding off of everything, because everything is vibration, right? As the Kybalion says, all is vibration, all is mind. So you have a song, you have a theme song, you have a soundtrack to your life, but the question is the song one of discord or one of harmony? Now, let us be clear, because the distinction between music and noise is mathematical form. Music is ordered sound, whereas noise is disordered sound. Music and noise are both mixtures of sound waves of different frequencies. Now, I mention this specifically because what we see in our lives, in our experiences, as trauma, noise, as pain, discord, as whatever that is that's going on, where it's like, but the moment we add law, add the mathematics of healing, of treatment, of prayer, the moment we add it to this, don't bypass it or deny it, but add it to the mix, then we recognize how to turn trauma into triumph, discord into harmony. And we recognize that ultimately, there is no noise that cannot become music, that cannot become magic. So no matter if it's in our families, because that same soundtrack shows up, the song we sing about family. Oh, I hate my family and my family, they hate me. If that's the song, then that's the vibration. Now, one can say, yes, my family of origin, my biological family, we do not get along. We do not commingle in fellowship because it's not healthy for us. And I have healed and moved on from that. I send them love and I bless them, and I have somewhere else to go. How do we heal the generational curses? Do we continue to talk them up? Do we continue to cast spells of, the vibration of, the songs of, the mental atmosphere of generational curses, or do we change them into generational blessings? Do we change the theme song? Do we change the soundtrack? Do we change the noise so that we're living in a more empowered manner? Reverend Dr. Ray says, you, as the incarnation of absolute unity, as it expresses itself in the relative, have the power. You have the power. The ability to transform not only your life, but all of life. What you think, speak, feel, and do into the law ripples throughout God and moves all of God. Your mind moves matter. Your mind, your thoughts, God's thoughts, your words, God's words, your feelings and your actions are God's feelings and actions. And what you touch changes. When you say, let there be light, there is. Because from your mental vibration and atmosphere and consciousness, the ripples go out. And let's be clear before we go on to our weekly practice. Let's be clear that there are times in this adventure that are challenging. There are times that are going to offer whatever that opposition. Remember those distractions I talked about earlier? There are times that is going to come up, and yet we anchor and ground and recognize. So remember that thing that was said about, that Reverend Cynthia James said about people on pedestals? So for a moment, once again, before we go into our weekly practice, for those who may not know, Desmond Tutu, Bishop Desmond Tutu, made his transition. And we are going to find a great many people sharing, the laughter and the smiles and all the things related to him. And yet many forget that he has been a very outspoken person regarding not only South African apartheid, but Palestinian apartheid and any other form of oppression around the world. Even to the fact where, if I'm not mistaken, it was the governor of Illinois that said, if I have this correctly, that they were removing the death penalty from Illinois because of a conversation that the governor had with Bishop Desmond Tutu. Now, it's easy for people to, love and light, yay. But Gandhi was very outspoken. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was very outspoken. Mother Teresa was very outspoken about injustice. So as we anchor and ground in this idea of what it means to be the embodiment of the divine, recognize that not everyone is going to like you when you change into a butterfly. Not everyone is going to like you when they see the true form of love and light being expressed as you. Not everyone is going to understand or recognize that, and that is okay. Shine your light anyway. Be powerful anyway. Be unapologetic anyway. Be the demonstration of unity anyway. This week's practice. Journal. What areas of your life are you just not, like, I'm not quite feeling the presence of unity. Like, I don't feel unity and I don't feel in alignment. I feel out of harmony. Or in fact, identify those areas of your life where you feel that. 2, identify 2 or 3 areas of your life and create a treatment plan, a blueprint of how you can manifest unity in those areas that you talked about before. And then convene, whatever you want to call it, a mastermind group, an accountability team, a sacred 8, whatever works for you. Something where the intention can be held And people can be of assistance and nurturing and support as you make the shift, as you bring into form whatever that blueprint or treatment plan was stating. And then lastly, have a conversation with two people about what it means for you to right now be a powerful force in the world. Breathe. This week's declaration or affirmation, I will say it first, and if you feel in alignment, say it with me the second time around. Life is all I am, and all I am is life. I am life. Life is me. Together. Life is all I am, and all I am is life. I am life, and life is me. Breathe that in. All that life is, you are. Breathe. And today, as I said before, is the first day of Kwanzaa. So we anchor and ground in the emotion of, the energy of unity. As we close out service, we know that service, being of service, being God acting upon itself continues and continues and continues, so that every conversation we have is a conversation steeped in, grounded in the vibration of unity. Every email, every interaction on Facebook, all of it, all of this, the very atmosphere of how we show up, anchored and grounded in love and compassion, and the recognition that each one of us gets to determine and gets to change and gets to transform the very experiences of our lives and those of others. A world that works for all starts right here, right now, one thought at a time, one conversation at a time, one human interaction at a time. And it starts with us right here, right now. It is so, and so it is. Happy Kwanzaa. Love y'all. See some of y'all in a couple hours.